should we talk about Halo Infinite?
We should, because we've both been playing it. It was a surprise drop during Xbox's 20th anniversary sort of celebration stream they did like a week or two ago. And yeah, I pretty much downloaded it immediately, and I have played some and do have some thoughts, but I'm very curious to hear yours because I think between the two of us, you're the bigger Halo fan.
It was the first, probably like a lot of people our age, it was the first console shooter I ever played. So, like, I remember in real time trying
GoldenEye?
to learn... I don't think I had an N64, but I don't think I ever played... No, I must have played GoldenEye. I guess I should say this is the first twin-stick shooter, even though that's not actually what it is. But what I'm saying is, like...
I think you're thinking of, like, multiplayer... I guess not even online, because the first Halo wouldn't have been...
This is the first game where my left thumb was controlling my movement and my right thumb was controlling where I looked.
Okay. That makes sense.
And I remember I went to a birthday party from one of my good friends, and all we did that night was play Halo on 2 Xboxes that are linked together through like a hub back in the day.
That was mind-blowing back in the day.
Yeah, it was crazy to me. And I remember we played it so much, and for like the first like hour to 2 hours, I could not wrap my head around the movement of like left thumb moves, right thumb looks. And then it just clicked with me. And I remember that night, I had a dream where I was moving around, and I was like, oh, I should walk forward, and my brain was like, oh, to walk forward, you need to like make the muscles in your thumb move. And so it was very surreal because I didn't even feel my feet moving. I only felt my thumbs moving, and I was walking around in the stream.
Weird.
But after that, I was hooked. So that's all to say that I am super into Halo. Not really into the lore. I never played 1 or 2 because I never owned an Xbox, but I had an Xbox 360, and the first one I ever bought for myself was 3? Halo 3?
Yeah.
And that I played the campaign. I don't remember anything about it. I don't know anything about Master Chief except that he was a clone or something. I don't really know. I looked up his backstory on Wikipedia one time.
I don't know if I'm just like a bad video game fan, but like Halo, the story, I've always found pretty incomprehensible and I've never been like a big fan of it. But I'm sure like the big Halo fans and defenders would be very angry at hearing me say that. But
I mean, they always say like, oh, the books are so good, you got to check out the books. And I do believe that probably there is a rich universe there, because the Halo Wikipedia, whatever it's called, Halopedia, is dense, and there's like a lot to learn. But I don't know anything about that. I know the Flood are bad. Mm-hmm. But and I know that Ring was designed. I actually did watch a TikTok that was like, here is the entire Halo timeline in like a minute and a half. So I am somewhat well versed in it, like from a very wide perspective. But I think I played Halo 4, maybe, whatever the last one was that came out on 360, and then I skipped whichever ones came.
I think that was Reach, because that's the one I also played.
I don't think I played Reach.
Oh, you didn't?
I played the
Reach.
first one with like those red weapons that were like all floating around. The one with the
ODST?
What's that thing called? No, the let's actually do a little bit of research. Halo games.
I was gonna say, because I did own an original Xbox, but I didn't get it until much later in the generation. So like I sort of missed the boat on Halo 1 and 2. I did go back and play through Halo 2, but my first one that I really spent any time with the multiplayer was Halo 3, and I couldn't get into it because I felt like maybe this was just not for me and that I missed the boat. And then like Call of Duty came out like a month later, like Call of Duty 4. The first Modern Warfare game, and that just like sucked me in, and I just never went back to Halo until Halo Reach came out, and then I played a bunch of that, and I sort of enjoyed that one more, but then I just like fell off of Halo entirely.
Halo 4 was the last one I played, I believe. I think was Halo 3 the first one that had online multiplayer?
Yeah,
because the original Xbox
because that was
online.
early 360 days. So like the 360 came out, and I want to say 06. And I think Halo 3 and Call of Duty 4 came out in 2007.
Yes, I think you are right. Because I remember I was just going to college, and I like had my Xbox, and I was playing like Mass Effect and Halo and whatnot.
Yeah, I think all of those came out in the same year. That
That's
2007
crazy.
was an insane year for games, but yeah.
So I skipped over 5, and if there was one after 5.
I think
I don't
5
know.
was the last one.
Really?
I also heard that those, like, the last one in particular, like, they almost took it more down a Call of Duty path, and fans did not like that.
Yeah, they had you had like jumper jets or whatever, and a bunch of other stuff that was random. But if I flash forward to today, I think that this Halo Infinite is pretty good, is what I'm going to say initially. I logged in. There's a very clear path for newcomers, but I definitely played with bots for like the first like hour and a half that I played, just to get used to playing Halo with a keyboard and mouse. And I had to rebind some keys and whatnot. But once I got that down, I think this is also maybe the first. Is this the first Halo with bots?
Like a bot mode?
Yeah, like previous to this, I don't think you could play with like AI counterparts.
You're probably right. I mean, I never played 4 or 5, so I don't know,
But I had a lot of fun playing with bots, and then I finally was like, all right, I just need to dive in and see what this is like with real people. And I did pretty good. It's like riding an old bike, you know, like it feels enough same as it did that I was able to jump back in. And there's definitely some new stuff, like the equipment is new and whatnot, but I did pretty good. I mean, my team lost in the first match that I played, but I also did the best on my team, which I felt pretty good about. You get in a zone with Halo where you're just like, it feels really, really good to get like a double kill or like a triple kill, and it sometimes happens very easily because you constantly have grenades. It seems like if you die as frequently as I do.
I wanted to say that, like, so my initial experience was I jumped in and I did play like a round with bots, and I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm gonna just go into quick play and do this thing. And like the first couple of matches I did not really enjoy. I was like, well, you know, it just feels like more Halo. I'm not sure if Halo's my thing. I'm more interested in the campaign. I'll play through that once it comes out. But then we were texting a little bit about it, and so I decided to jump in and give it a second shot. But this time I jumped into Big Team Battle. And that is so much more fun that I like got hooked on that mode. And I was like, oh, okay, now I see, now I get it. And so like I also started adjusting, because a weird thing about Halo for me is it's an arena shooter. So there's like no aim down sights, and you're just like you're running around picking up weapons around the map as opposed to having like a loadout. And so something about not being able to ADS and just like hip firing with like and just like focusing on where your crosshair is, something about that just like really throws my brain off, and I like cannot seem to aim consistently that way. And so it's like a little bit of an adjustment for me, and I felt like I started making that adjustment last night while I was playing, and suddenly it was a lot more fun to me. And I think it partially was the big team battle where you have like larger, more open spaces, and as opposed to like the smaller, more like arena style maps. And so it started clicking with me, and I started really enjoying it. And so if you try it, because it is free, I would say try Big Team Battle, and also like immediately swap out your starting weapons, because they suck. And
I will say, the pistol though, I have found to be pretty good, because it is pretty long range, and you can really pick people off if they're not paying attention to you.
That's fair. The pistol probably is worth hanging on to over the like assault rifle you start out with. And another thing I learned about that assault rifle, if you do end up stuck with it and you have to use it, which is going to happen sometimes, but don't just hold the trigger down on it, because once the crosshairs get outside the circle, you're just like not hitting anything. So you do sort of have to, unless you're close range, you do sort of have to burst fire with it. But no, like you said, I would get off to like a rough start, and then like something crazy would always happen to like really get me back into it and start having fun again. Like in Big Team Battle, there's one game mode where, and I'm not a Halo person, so I don't know the terminology for all of this stuff. So I'm probably going to get it wrong, but like you go collect, I think they're like charges, and then you run them back to your side and input them into some sort of container. And so you have both sides, or like both teams, sort of battling over those charges and trying to take them back to each other's side. And you can also like go steal them from the other team and then return them to your side as well. And so like a round is decided once like a team has collected 5 of them. And then it goes to the next round, and whoever collects 5 wins the second round. And so I was playing around and I was struggling with it, and I was not doing very well. And then like I ran around to like their side where their containers were, and I saw like 2 guys coming up with those charges, and I just like threw 2 grenades down and I blew both of them up. And then like a bunch of other guys were there, and I threw down a couple more grenades because I had also picked up some plasma grenades, and I blew them up as well. And I ended up on this like massive kill streak because of it. And then like somebody eventually sorted me, but I was like, all it took was just like running back there and getting like a huge multi-kill with a bunch of grenades to like turn this thing around. And
that's like,
suddenly it became super fun.
That's the great thing about Halo, I feel like, is the time to kill is not as immediate as other games where like you really have to have your head on a swivel in a game like Call of Duty Black Ops, where like someone can pick you off immediately. And this, like, you were talking about grenades. I like that new grenade they made that is like a disruptor grenade, because you can just whip that at a vehicle and it just like disables the vehicle for like 10 seconds, which I think is really cool. And the grapple also is another piece of equipment that I feel like adds a ton to the game and is really fun.
Yeah, the vehicle disabling thing happened to me as well, but that was another one of the stories I was going to tell. It was a different map, a different time I was playing that same game mode, and I was struggling, and then like randomly they dropped a big tank, and I was like, well, I'm taking this. So I jumped in and I like drove it all the way back to where their like containers were, and I just started blowing everybody up. And I went on another massive like kill streak where I was just like tanking everybody. And then
it's so easy to have those hero moments in Halo, I feel like.
And that's what I was gonna say. I was like, even if you're kind of struggling and you get out to like a rough start, like something insane will happen. Like there's a way to turn it around in a big way, and suddenly you just end up having a really fun time. And that game actually was very, very close as well. Like we had both teams had scored like 2 points by winning 2 rounds, and the last round we did end up losing, but the last round came down to like we needed 1 more charge to deposit in order to win. But their side also needed just 1 more, and they managed to do it before us. So it was like, even if, you know, the round's not going your way, it'll be like a close game as well. So
yeah, I don't know what their matchmaking algorithm is, but I feel like it's pretty solid, because in the couple of matches I've played, it has always been like pretty close, like right down to it. And also, I've been watching people play it on Twitch, and they've been having pretty close matches as well. It seems like I've seen very few just like domination things where one side has like, you know, 49 points and the other side only has like 10 points.
Yeah, so I don't know. I like last night playing Big Team Battle like completely changed my mind on Halo Infinite. I was all set to come into this podcast and be like, I don't know, it's more Halo, I don't know if it's for me. But now, like after playing a few rounds of Big Team Battle last night, I'm like all on board. And I'm like ready to play more. So
a thing that is a little bit of a bummer that I heard about is, so the campaign is coming out soon, in like I think 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
When it actually launches. But co-op for the campaign doesn't happen until like next year at some point. They're delaying that for some reason.
Oh really? I hadn't heard that.
Which is a bummer, because I feel like we could have played through that and it would have been super fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're probably just gonna play through the campaign solo now and then maybe revisit it.
Right. Yeah, that is a bummer.
Forge also, which is their like map editor or whatever, is also not coming out with the initial release, which I feel like it's going to add an even crazier layer to the replayability, because people are going to start making their own maps and like recreating old maps that are going to be very nostalgic and creating like crazy new maps that have like interesting gravity and like crazy constructions on them and stuff. So I feel like this game is like queued up to have very long legs, like a long tail.
Yeah, and it does have a battle pass, which it's my understanding that people were not happy with initially because like the progression of it was like super duper slow. But they have updated that where I think you now get like experience towards the battle pass after every round,
Yes.
as opposed to just like having to complete certain challenges, many of which are like tough to do. So,
Yeah, I think that was a smart move
Yeah.
for them. And they did it almost immediately. Like,
Yeah.
they did it, like, maybe 2 days after releasing the beta.
Yeah, well, so they released it, and the backlash to like how slow the progression was almost immediate. And then like the next day, they had fixed it and changed it, and there were articles going out about it. So I was like, wow, they're right on this. So that's a good thing. Do you think you'll get the battle pass, or do you see yourself playing a lot more of the multiplayer?
I don't know. I need to see if my other friends haven't grabbed it yet, and I want to see if they're into it, because if they start to play as well, and it's something where I can like get them together and play sometimes, I might consider getting it. But if it's just going to be a thing like where I play on my own every once in a while, then I don't know. Or if like we start playing it pretty regularly, especially if they have like a duos weekend or something and we get really into it, I might pick up the battle pass. But I also like, I don't know if any of the stuff on the battle pass is stuff that I actually need. Like,
Yeah.
all of the armor seems kind of samey to me right now.
Right.
Like, nothing really jumps out at me as being interesting to look at.
That's what I thought too.
I think if I got different colors, I would be fine, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get different colors with the battle pass, but like I thought the same. Where it was like, well, I had leveled up on my battle pass, and it was like, well, if you have the battle pass, you get this skin, and I was like, that looks pretty similar to the one I already have.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to pay for that. So I don't know.
Something I would pay for, I feel like the only customizability that I actually do want is to customize that like AI companion that you have, basically your ghost. Because right now there's like 5 voices for it. I don't super like any of them. I left it on the default butler one. But if they came out with a crazy one that was like a celebrity, I might pay $5 for that. But I don't think I'd buy a whole battle pass for it.
Yeah, and there's like customization options for the weapons as well, which seemed interesting. I almost didn't expect that, because like your loadout is not like, you don't really have a loadout. You just like,
Yeah.
you always start with the same stuff, and then you just pick up random weapons throughout the
Which
map.
I like. I like that aspect of it.
And so I thought it was pretty cool that you can actually customize those as well. So I don't know. I don't know if I care enough to actually pay for it, or if I will put enough time
I
into
agree.
it to make the battle pass worth it, which is always a big question.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely interested in playing more of it, which is not something I would have said like 2 days ago. But after Big Team Battle, I think that's the way to go. And maybe some of that is because I'm sort of more of a Battlefield fan. And
Yeah.
like the Big Team Battle feels like the Halo version of like Battlefield, where you have like bigger, more open maps, and like vehicles are involved. And speaking of which, I did play Battlefield 2042.
Not a pretty corpse. Grenade out. Taking damage. boys are ours.